And again, it's like you said, that one little sofa, might not be the best sofa in the world, but you can put fabulous pillows on it, and just make it a comfortable sofa and make it look fabulous.
Yeah.
And it's not just that. You can do a rug with it, and once you start bringing everything all together, that's when it turns into the magic.
Welcome to At Home with Anderson Design Center. I'm Holland Askew, the marketing director here at Anderson's. We are super excited that you're here with us today for our first ever podcast. This has been months in the making. If you know Mr. Anderson, you know he loves this business and you know he is an avid podcast listener. So this is probably making him so happy right now that we're finally sitting here and we've got microphones in front of us and we're nervous. So just bear with us.
So.
It's raining outside. We're very nervous, but we're super excited to be here today. We hope that this podcast is really just a sneak peek into all that we do in Anderson Design Center. We have a large business and a lot of people don't realize that. So we're super excited. Carol Crist is with me today. She's our buyer. She's our showroom stylist. She is my second mother. She is fabulous. We have been going to market together recently, so we've got a lot of talking practice time in is what we've been saying.
Mm-hmm.
So Carol, she is from a small town in Mississippi, but she's moved all over. She's ventured off. She's got lots of style. She's got lots of good travels in her, and that's what makes her so great at what she does. So, Carol, say hello.
Hey, everybody. I'm happy to be here, but again, I'm nervous as well.
Yes,
but I got little Holland here to guide me through it.
Yes, we're both super nervous, so bear with us. But anyways, we'll get started. So the point of this podcast really is just to pull back the curtain on all things home design. So really just offering practical advice, expert insight, and real conversations from inside of our personal showroom. So you can see here we are in our showroom. If you've been in here before, we are in the far back room where Carol's office is. If you haven't been here, come join us, check it out. We'll take you on a tour. But we're just super excited, and we will roll right into it. So just to kind of give you a brief story of Anderson. So we've been in business 43 years. Mr. Anderson started with a paint store, which is crazy to think that we've gone from the paint store to this, which is just wild. So we have a large showroom on Office Park Drive. We also have one downtown Hattiesburg on West Scuba Street. Our commercial department and our Anderson downtown location is there, so more furniture.
And you can still see the paint on the floor down there, too.
Yes, and you can still see the paint on the floor. So very original, very different feel than the store, so don't be intimidated to go down there, too. We've got lots of square footage, and which can be intimidating to people sometimes, but that's also really one of the biggest kickers behind this podcast. So still to this day, we have customers that walk in the furniture gallery and they'll say, oh, wow, I didn't realize you also did flooring. And all that started that conversation was they turn their head to the right and they see through our store and they're like, it just goes and goes and goes and goes. And so if you've never been in our store, you'll see you walk in one door and you see just so far both ways. We've got furniture, we've got rugs, which is what Carol handles. We've got flooring, countertops, cabinetry. We just started an in-house renovation team, which is super exciting. We've been slammed with that. So that's in-house kitchens and bathroom renovations. So just a lot in-house that we really want people to understand more of. We also have a lot of great experienced designers on our staff. So like I went to school for interior design. Carol went to school for interior design. We have lots of very experienced people in our showroom, and that's a great resource, and we would love to, eventually we're going to have them on the podcast, let them talk about their stories and what they love and what they're passionate about, and just give you more insight on what we can do to help you make your home really feel like your home, feel comfortable. And so kind of going into a little icebreaker here to make us feel more comfortable. We're going to start every podcast, we've decided, with a little icebreaker. So Carol's is going to be, I'm going to ask Carol, so for you personally, home feels like home when
I can get in my jammies and be around people and things that I love, and
kitties,
my kitty cats, and just cuddle up, and even if I have to bring work home with me, then I can do work in the house and still be comfortable and still be around the things I love, the people I love, and be outside if I want to be outside. It's all about the things that make your life comfortable and easy.
Yeah. And so that's important when it comes to furnishings. It's important when it comes to, your paint colors, your artwork, anything in your home that makes it feel like yours, but then also the people that feel it. And your kitty cats. Carol is a cat lover. You'll notice she's an avid cat lover. And so that's one of our favorite things about her. So we'll move on right in from that, get to know Carol a little bit more. And so starting off with, who we are at Anderson's. So, Carol, you've been here for almost 7 years now.
Right.
Which is a good while. Carol's done a lot since she's been here. She's changed a lot. She's done a lot. Our showroom has drastically changed. We've really elevated our style.
Right.
And we give all of that credit to her with our furniture gallery, our rugs. She just put so much thought and intention into everything in there. So from your perspective of all your travels and all the places you've worked and been and seen, what makes Anderson's different than other places?
It's an easy place to shop. It's comfortable to shop in. So, when you walk through the door, doesn't matter if you're going to the flooring store or if you're going to the furniture store or any place in between, you've got someone there that you can speak with if you do feel overwhelmed. And then, they can guide you to where you need to go. But making the store different to where people want to come back, to where they want to see, what's Carol going to do next? That's what I always strive for. Yeah. And I always strive to make for sure that we have the best quality items here in the store.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about our store is that you walk in and it's so big, but there's always someone there to sweep you up. So whether it be Wenda, our receptionist, or one of the designers, or Kennedy, who I know a lot of people love, somebody's always there to pick you up and say, what brings you in? What are you doing here? So that it's not so overwhelming when you walk in the door and you're like, oh my gracious, there's a million rugs hanging everywhere, or there's a big there's a big porcelain wall in front of me, and it's intimidating because it's so large. So that's one thing I love. But then also too with the furniture side of it, obviously the flooring displays don't change that often. Just with drops we get new flooring and tile and things like that. But I love that most of the time when people walk into our furniture store, it's always going to look different because you put so much thought and intention into making sure it's always fresh, it's always inspiring. And so tell us a little bit more about what you do, when somebody walks in the showroom and they see all the furniture, you want to make it shoppable, you want to make it comfortable, but you also want to really show off each piece. I know you've made the comment to me before, like accessories really make it. I can take a really boring sofa and make it fabulous with accessories and rugs. So tell us a little bit about your thoughts behind that.
So that's one of the things that I love about my job is that, if you have somebody on a budget here, or here, we can always make it work for them. And again, it's like you said, that one little sofa, might not be the best sofa in the world, but you can put fabulous pillows on it, and just make it a comfortable sofa and make it look fabulous. Yeah. And it's not just that. You can do a rug with it, and once you start bringing everything all together, that's when it turns into the magic. It's like when we first started working on that vignette out there, and I had thought about it for so long, and I just put the pieces in there, and the pieces by themselves were just like, oh, okay, I get it. Yeah. But then when you add all of the lighting, and then you add all of the artwork and the accessories and the books and everything, that's what makes it come to life. And that's when everybody walks in and they're like, wow.
That's it. That's it. And that's what I think makes our store so special. I keep saying the word intentional because one thing I love, like as we've been to market, I know if people see our social media, they followed along with us at market. We've been to High Point, we've been to Dallas, but we've talked a lot on our drives, and we've gotten, I've learned more about what inspires you and how you think about the showroom and how you literally find inspiration in everything. And I love that. And so we'll be, walking around shopping or doing whatever. And she was like, I love it. Like those colors, I'll pull it, we'll pull it in through accessories and it's going to bring the showroom to life. And it could be the smallest detail, like a cute little skirt, or it could be, a little teacup that we see somewhere. But it was like, you just pull the colors and you pull the designs or whatever it may be. And it's like everything just layers together so perfectly. And I feel like that rotating so often in our showroom keeps it fresh, keeps it lively. And then it also gets people intrigued where they want to keep coming back. And so I think that's that's really special and really neat. And then you do a great job too of mixing price points so that we can reach different customers. And I know when we shop for rugs, like you always will look at a rug and say, I could envision that in a den or in a formal room. So kind of tell me a little bit how you assess that situation.
So for me, it's more like when you're buying rugs, I look at the size and what all can you fit on that rug and what room is it going in? Is it going in an open concept room? One of my pet peeves is somebody not putting a big enough rug in an open concept room.
Goodness gracious.
And to me, a rug is an island for your furniture. All of your furniture should sit on that rug. So, when I'm looking at the rugs, I'm trying to figure out, if it's the correct size, depending on the pattern and stuff like that, where it's going to go. If it's going to be at the door, it needs to be a little bit darker, so that it gets the traffic and stuff like that, So, there's a lot of thoughts into it. And then sometimes it's just like, that's a fine rug. I got to have that rug,
Yeah. And that's what happened to us a lot. So we were recently just in Dallas at market and we went and we saw, a new rug person and we found some new rugs. And Carol's always saying she wants to bring fresh things into our showroom, which is from, furniture and rugs all the way to flooring. We always want what's new, what's fresh. We want new flooring. We want new tiles. We want what people want to see in their homes. But Carol also does a really good job at making sure things stay very timeless. And so she's always looking for timeless pieces. And so we walked into this store and there was this precious little cat named Ushak. And Carol was like, we're not leaving. We're staying here. So we sat there for 4.5 hours and we looked at rugs over and over and over again. But I mean, every time one flipped, she was like, oh, I could see that in a den. And that would be beautiful in a southern living room or in a southern formal dining room. And so I think it's really neat for people to understand that we have a lot of intention behind our furniture, our rugs, and that's a large part of what we do.
Oh, yeah.
And then just that we also have the designers on hand to be able to say, let me show you how to piece all this together. Because
and then we have to think about the projects that they're working on, especially when we're actually doing the buying and stuff like that. You want your rugs to be able to partner with another rug in the house, and so it's a lot of thought that goes into it.
Yeah. So what is your favorite vignette you've ever styled in our showroom?
Oh, that's actually the last one that we did with all the color, which is, kind of has not been my style, but, I actually loved it. I actually painted the walls like a green color, and then we had the dark brown to go with it. And again, it changed the whole feel of all of it. And then we did a wallpaper panel on screens, to divide the two rooms. And, when I'm thinking about doing those things, I'm thinking about, first of all, the photo shoot. How's it going to look in the photo shoot? And then how are we going to have to move all this stuff around in the photo shoot? But it all has to be, you have to be able to talk to each other. The pieces do.
Yeah.
So, but I just loved all the color. It does have gold in it. I love gold. So it has some gold pieces in it, and it was fun. We had a tea party. It was a tea party, and it was also a games room. So we had extra tables, the little fabric that we brought in on the game table, and then the chairs. I had the antique chairs for 5 years, and I was like, eventually I'll use them. I'll need them. And sure enough, it was the perfect chair. And, I was able to do different things with the fabric and stuff like that to make that little table pop. You would have thought, okay, the table is the center of attention. It was the chairs.
Yeah.
It was just so cute.
For sure. And it all goes back to just how great you are at what you do, how intentional and how layering things
Thank you.
How bringing in all the different styles and textures just makes it so beautiful. And so that really, handles a lot of our furniture gallery, our rug market, that most people know that we have, and they see on Instagram. That vignette you were just talking about, y'all will see on Instagram soon if it hasn't been posted already, depending on whenever this goes out, which we're super excited about. That'll also be featured in the Scout Guide, so very exciting there. But Carol doesn't deal with a lot of the rest of the building because this is like her niche. This is her bread and butter. With the furniture and the rugs, of course, she can do it all. But this is her prized possession.
This is my baby.
This is her baby down here. But fun things to come in the future that we really want to, be able to talk about and get with Johnny, our in-house contractor, and with some of our other new construction designers, and bring them in and talk about, what we can do for in-house renovations, for kitchen and bathrooms. A really big thing recently has been like taking a bathroom and making it more suitable for aging in place.
Exactly.
So for people that want to stay in their home the duration, adding in those grab bars or blocking for grab bars, zero entry showers. We've been doing a lot of that. We also have, just taking up hardwood and putting something else down, or taking an up tile and putting down an updated tile or a different floor. There's so much that we can do in-house, and then that just, further grows into our downtown area, which is our commercial department. So they're handling schools and hospitals and, whatever it may be, office buildings. And so we really do have a one-stop shop here. That's one thing that we always say.
It's so convenient.
Such a golden ticket. It's a little gold mine of our own that we're proud to call ours, and we hope people, as they learn more about us, as they continue to walk in our doors, they say, okay, wow, like I can come here and I can start my home from the ground up. I can bring in a set of house plans and say, this is what I have, and this is what I want, and this is how I want to feel in my home. And we have designers that can take that and say, we're going to start from the slab and we're going to go all the way up, or we're going to tweak this house plan a little bit and we're going to get it revised, and then we're going to build from there. We're going to pick everything in this home, and that's really just what we love about what we get to do and who we are. So lots of fun things,
and everyone here is so professional. Like we have interior designers, we have an actual contractor. And most everybody has been here for a long time.
Oh yeah.
So
I think it's we always joke and say we have like Lindsay and several that have been here for 20 plus years.
Right.
And then we have my new little wave that's coming in, and we've all been here 3 to 5 years, but we've all been here for a while.
Yeah, but we need your little wave coming in.
We're helping with the online.
There you go.
We have those renderings coming. We're helping with
can you help me turn that computer on?
Yes, for sure. So, one thing, thinking about all the things we just talked about with the showroom, how large it is, how many different things there are here, what advice would you give somebody who wants to walk into our showroom for the first time, whether it be they're looking at flooring, they're looking at furniture, but they're just too intimidated to make that first step in walking in the door?
Just first of all, why are they coming in the door? Like, do they want to redo their bathroom? Do they want, all new furniture? Do they... it's going to depend on where they want to go, so if they want to come to the furniture side for new furniture, that's where they'd come. And then if they want to do like the flooring or, new hardwoods, carpet or whatever, then, they would go down to the flooring side and stuff. But the great thing about it is that it's all interconnected. So as soon as you get through with that new flooring, let me get you a rug to go on top of that, and
then let's put a sofa on it. Let's just layer on up. But that's nice though, because it makes everything cohesive. It makes everything seamless. If you have the same designer that starts with you on your flooring, and then they help you with the rugs and the sofas, and they start from those hard finishes to all the way to the soft ones, and it's like you have a truly cohesive, seamless house, and it doesn't have to all be done at once. You may get a beautiful house built and then say, all right, let me save up a little bit. Let me wait, because I really want to have some nice furnishings, some quality furnishings to fill my home with. I want to have that maybe simple sofa that we jazz up with some pillows and accessories, but maybe it's not that time yet. It's somewhere you can always come back and say, hey, I'm comfortable with you. I know you as my designer. Let's work together again. Let's, finish the rest of my house out, whether it be one room at a time, whether it be the whole thing. Windows, window treatments. It's literally everything, one-stop shop. And that's just so convenient and so nice. And I hope people, just as they watch our podcast and listen to us and follow us along on social media, that they'll understand, wow, this is a great resource to have. And we're lucky, and we're thankful that Mr. Anderson believes in us. And
but that's another thing, is like you do a great job with social media. So like again, if somebody's looking to redo their flooring or something like that and they don't know exactly where to go, like just looking at our Instagram or Facebook pages and stuff like that, you do a great job of letting people know exactly what we do, and that's a talent all in itself, Holland. It's just amazing what you do.
Well, we have designers that do great work, and we got to show it off somehow so that people know. And there's so many different styles, and there's just... it's limitless. There's so many different things that we offer and we can do, and different styles we can reach. And, that's another thing I love too, is that part of my job is, when a customer walks in or if they call, then I love to meet with people and say, let me get to know you. Do you have pets? Do you have, you know, kids? Are you older? Do you want your home to be more suitable for a wheelchair one day? You know, those types of things. And that's a nice thing about having a great team of designers is that I can say, you know, you would work excellent with this person based off of you're really detail oriented. You're really, you know, you love color. And we can, you know, kind of handpick and say, you know, this designer is made for you. Like this, you would be perfect with this designer. And that's just to me such a sweet thing to be able to have because you want to trust who's in your house.
Exactly.
You know, you want to trust that they get along with you personality wise, that they have your best interest at heart, that they're not just trying to throw something and move on. You know, they really care about you and what your home looks like at the end.
Right.
And that really shows off whenever we get, you know, great photos and we get to say, you know, the designer is really proud of their space.
Right.
Like they're proud that you live here and that you're proud of it, but that also that you love it. So essentially what you're doing in the showroom, but just in a home.
And again, like when I'm setting the showroom, I always try to make for sure that I'm not just doing something that's like a truly Southern home. You know, I always like to add a little edge in there.
Hattiesburg's got a little edge to it. And we also reach, you know, we reach some surrounding cities, so it's not just Hattiesburg. Right. But I love how, you know, Carol, she'll name every vignette that she does. And so one time we had a New York City apartment. Yeah. And it was fabulous. We had a photo shoot in and of ourselves in a big mink coat. It was absolutely fabulous. But it's just so different. And it reaches a different customer base. Right. You know, we're trying to, or whenever you stage a showroom, you are trying to reach those people that are walking in the door, but also spicing it up a little bit, adding that little spice there so it's not the same thing over and over again, or so that it's not so niche, you know, like only one specific customer type can walk in that door. And it's funny because, like, you know,
I can tie it all together with just like the artwork. I can, you know, put a color over here and then put that color over on the back wall, and yet somehow it kind of seems seamless in the showroom, you know. So, you know, just say you have a man and a woman and she really likes, you know, the Southern look and he's like, I'm a little edgier. We can do that.
We can mix it. You know? We can mix it. And that's the fun part about design is that you can mix. There's really no rules. You know, we get to make the rules. And that's one thing I love about it, which kind of brings me into our next question. So I have a design confession. So I want to ask you a design confession. So, and I already know your answer because we talked about this. And I kind of was prompting Carol the question and I sent it to her as a joke and she was like, that would be my answer. So Carol, what is one, I hate to use the word trend, but what is what people would call a trend or design style that you secretly love, even if it's not always in style, or maybe not so secretly love?
Yeah, I think it's a design style is what I would call it. And that is, I love to layer things. You know, I don't like to just have like a regular lamp sitting on a table. If it's in a shape to where I can layer that lamp with another lamp, it just adds visual interest, you know, and then also layering rugs. And then in the last vignette, you saw where I layered a table in front of a case good, you know, and it
was fabulous.
Yeah.
It was fabulous.
You know, it adds visual interest. It's thinking outside the box, you know, and, you know, the one lamp might be traditional and the other one might be a little fun, funky little lamp, you know, but it's where you can just kind of play a little bit.
It's what makes a space so curated.
Right.
It doesn't feel like, oh, you know, I just put some lamps here. It looks really thought out, even though it's almost a little maximalist, but it feels so intentional, so creative.
And maximalism is coming back.
Maximalism
I'm so excited.
is coming back. But no, like what you were saying, that table that you put in front of that case could make all the difference.
Right.
Like to me, I loved that space, but I didn't notice it all that much until you walked in with the little table, and I was like, oh my gracious, I didn't even know it could look more fabulous than what it does. But that one element made the whole space.
Right.
And so it just goes back to how the accessories can make it beautiful too. But I love that. I knew it was layering, but I had to ask and see.
Thank you, darling.
But okay, so one thing I have to bring up because people always talk about it, or we get a million messages, which is so funny to me on Instagram and Facebook. People love it, and it's so random. Is people love when they see us at market.
I know, right?
They love the videos, which is so funny to me because, you know, Kyle, which our vice president, if you don't know, Kyle's our vice president. He's fabulous. He was the one that was like, you know what, I think you should get to go to market this time as a marketing tactic. I was like,
and
all right.
Everybody loved it.
So we got to market.
Loved it.
And I was like, you know what? We're just going to video the whole thing. We're going to video the process. We're going to have fun with it. And I honestly think, since it was my first time going, I can't speak from experience, but I know you've been before, Kim had been before, Lakin had never been, but y'all said it was one of the most fun.
It was so fun.
Most fun markets we've ever had. I mean, I think it was just this element of we got to be goofy, we got to be funny, which was the whole kind of personality side of it. We wanted people online to see, you know, we're fun, we're creative, we're not stiff, we're not just walking around, you know, chop, chop, chop. But we're having a lot of fun, but we're getting a lot of work done.
Right.
But one thing I did not realize was that last day I posted that video of that Leanne Morgan sound that was like, I'm weak as water. I can't even make a fist. And we still say that rough. To this day.
It's rough.
Y'all, we were dying. I was so tired. That last day, we were there for how many days? 8 days?
I think it was 8 days.
We drove there, and then, we were there 8 days.
Yeah, I like to drive.
And Carol did drive there. I slept the entire way there and almost the entire way back. I was exhausted, but I did not realize how much work Market was. People think it's just we're shopping and playing. No, we were working. Or you were working. I mean, we started. Well, we had a schedule.
Yeah.
But we woke up at the crack of dawn. We stayed at this little house that Carol found. It's in the country and
very peaceful.
It's very peaceful.
It's exactly what you need after a long day of work.
We just got a message. We waited all the way through here, and of course, we just got a little ding there.
It's all good.
But we stay in this little house in the country, which is great because it's very peaceful, which is very much needed at the end of the day because that's so chaotic. There's people everywhere. There's so much thinking going on. So we would leave our little country house early in the morning and then, start going at 8 o'clock, 8:30 with appointments with vendors and reps. And then we didn't get back home until, 9, 10 o'clock every night.
Right.
And so kind of tell me what's your favorite thing about Market, or what's your thought process behind why it's important to go?
Well, you always want to see what's coming up next, what the new colors are going to be and stuff like that. And it's so funny because sometimes you won't even know what the new colors are. And then sometimes you'll just maybe see somebody in a dress and you're like, I like that color. And then the next thing you know, you see that color in a pillow and then you see it in a wallpaper and you're like, that's going to be the next color.
There it is again.
And then maybe not that time, but the next time you see it all over the place. And then you're like,
Yeah. And so I will say, with it being my first Market at High Point, I know that you said, I've been seeing this color everywhere. And maybe it was, I don't think it was lilac, but it was something different. It was a lighter color. And you're like, I've been seeing this color everywhere and so on and so forth. And one thing about you is your infamous screenshots on your phone. Carol has literally, I think, 65,000 screenshots on her phone, and she groups them in albums, and she has this fabulous album, and she was like, this is my, my upcoming, this is what I feel like's going to be, in this season. These colors are going to be pulled. You're going to see them in clothing. You're going to see them in furniture. You're going to see them in rugs. And so, she's scrolling through that, 10,000 photo and plus album. And it was so fun. And I was like, oh, there's a dress. There's a cute dress. There's some shoes. But it's funny because, fashion and the furniture design industry go hand in hand.
Right, they do.
And so, Carol kind of gives me that little speech on the way to Market. And then we get there, and I was like, I love her dress one day. And she was like, it's that color. And then we got to a showroom, and I was like, those pillows are to die for. And you were like, it's that color.
That new little outfit you bought?
And then I bought a new little outfit. Color. It's that color. And so it was like you start to see it everywhere. Right. But then it's like, we always say, I know you're on track. She's like, I know I'm on track. I know I'm on the right track. I know we're going somewhere. But that's what I love about you is that you're always 10 steps ahead of the game. Because typically you've already ordered things in that color palette, or you already have the showroom kind of working into that color palette, and then we go to Market and it confirms everything.
And that Sunday morning at 7 o'clock in the morning that I texted you, I was like, validation is everything.
Validation is everything.
It was everything from Veranda magazine, and it was everything that was in that vignette.
Seriously. And I just scrolled through and I was like, this is incredible. I mean, literally our new showroom vignette, the one that you said is your favorite, it was all in that magazine.
Right.
And so it's to think that they styled that, published that, and you didn't see all of it until after it was published. And then it was that's literally what we have sitting outside.
Some of it was in ads. Some of it was in, different houses and stuff like that. But I was like,
it's crazy. It's crazy. And so it just shows, obviously, you know what you're doing, but we're staying on track. We're staying in the trend, and we're ahead of the game. But tell me a little bit about, so it was my first time meeting some of our reps. And so I didn't realize, we have lots of different reps, but there's a lot of showrooms. And so we have a lot of high quality, and then we have some different price range, obviously, vendors that we go to, but all the showrooms are so different. And do you get some inspiration, for the fall and for later on seasons coming from their showrooms?
I do. And, I don't always pick up everything the way they show it. I might change the fabrics out and stuff like that. But that's the good thing about having great reps is, say we get something in and something goes wrong with it or whatever, we always go back to that rep And if you have a good, reputable company, then that rep's going to take care of you. And so it's always good to go to market and enjoy spending time with your reps and getting to know them. And, just like Rip, our sweet Rip, who's, he retired and everything, but he was at market helping his son with one of the products. And we got to see him again. It's like, you get to go back and you get to go back and you see friends, and I love it so much.
And that's like our like Leslie Blair. We'll have to give a little shout out to Leslie Blair because she's fabulous and she deserves this shout out. So Leslie Blair, she's our rep for several companies, but when we were at market one day, we were starving. So one thing about us was we would wake up, we would go. We were not eating. We were just going, walking, Ubering, driving, whatever we had to do, we were going. And one day, it was probably our second to last day or our last day at High Point.
It was close to the end. We were
tired. We were hungry. We were hangry.
Yeah,
we were all ready to go home.
It was hangry.
And we all wanted tacos.
Right.
And that was the funniest thing. We all wanted tacos. Nowhere had tacos. And we
kept missing lunch.
We did. We kept missing lunch because the showrooms would serve lunch. And so we kept missing lunch. And Leslie met us at one of the showrooms and she was like, I think I can find y'all tacos. She's like, hop in my car. So we hop in her car. She drops us off at another showroom. And she was like, I'll give y'all a call. So we go to another showroom. We're finishing up. And Carol goes, Leslie has tacos. And so we hop in the car. And we drive over to Leslie. And we get there. And she has us on an island. I mean, a spread. She has charcuterie boards. She's got tacos. She's got make your own tacos. And we were like, oh, my God, this is all we needed in life was these tacos.
And it was like we spent like 30 or 40 minutes there just like, oh, Leslie, this is so great.
Just staring at the wall and looking at lighting and eating tacos. So it does show too,
it's like, what else can I buy in here?
Well, how else can we spend money? Thank you for the tacos. And then when we went back to Dallas, we did the same thing. We were starving one day and she was like, I have pizza. Y'all want to come see me? And we were like, not only do you have fabulous things, but we love that you feed us when we're hungry. You obviously know how to get us into your showroom. But no, she's fabulous, but she reps some great lines too. So it just shows too, we have those relationships with those reps, and being at market, you kind of get to form stronger relationships that way. When we have questions down the road or, things go wrong in this industry. If something goes wrong with the project, they're the ones we call and say, hey, we need help. And typically they're on it. They're like, what can we do to help? What can we do to make things better? I know Leslie's been great at that. She's helped us recently with some things that weren't even her line that she repped. She was like, how can I help you? I want to be here for y'all and for your company and for the customer. And so we have lots of wonderful reps other than, Leslie and Rip. But
and that's good for customers to know as well because, like if anything goes wrong with them, they know that they can come to us and we're going to take care of it. And that means that we need to rely on our reps, you know, as well.
And they do a great job too at, when we are at market and we walk through their showrooms and we see the beautiful things they have, the new frames they have, the new fabrics they have, they're really great at sitting down and saying, this is what's new, this is what's coming in, this is what we have, you could take this frame and this fabric and marry them together and then you've got some, fabulous piece. And so we have lots of, wonderful pieces coming in that you ordered at High Point that I'm super excited about. And so they'll be here for fall. So our fall reset will be pretty fabulous, bringing in a lot of those rich, dark tones, totally different than some of our vignettes now.
That's one of my favorite things is when people come in at Christmas and they're always like, I just came in, I just wanted to see what you did this year. And it just sets my heart on fire. I just love it so much.
Which is so sweet. But that's the fun part about, going to market, working hard, and then bringing all those new things home that we find. And then, of course, when we went to Dallas, it was a little different. My second time to go, so I kind of knew what to expect. But I think that little cat just stole our hearts, and we were stuck. I mean, literally, we were stuck with the cat. I know the people that followed us on Instagram were like, bring the cat to the store, bring the cat to the store. I was like, I don't know that we can bring the cat to the store, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do.
It was so precious.
We did ask if we could have a store cat or a store dog, one or the other. We would end up with.
We got little Timmy.
We do. We do have Mr. Anderson's dog, little Timmy. He does stay locked up in the office, but he is he's here sometimes. He's here. But it's fun. It's wonderful. We enjoy it, and hopefully we'll get to keep going and doing and meeting people and going on little adventures, and hopefully everybody will keep following along with us. We have a lot of fun showing people what we're doing. So.
Making fabulous homes in Hattiesburg and the surrounding areas.
Yes.
We do travel.
We do travel. We have the most incredible boss.
Yes,
That's why we're sitting here today. He loves a good podcast. He's all for us being here. Tell me a little bit about, Mr. Anderson, and you've obviously been here longer than I have, and I think really, he's the heart behind this business. He's the reason we're all here. He's the reason the store has grown so much. I mean, in 43 years to go from a little paint store to what we have now, 2 locations, that's pretty incredible. So kind of tell me, your relationship working with Mr. Anderson, how, when you first came on board, you were coming from, you lived in California and you had been in Dallas and you had really been all over, what about him kind of gravitated you here and pulled you in?
So when I first came here, I was looking for some place to do interior design work, and just knowing that he had been in business for so long,
It's huge.
I mean, yeah, there's something to say about that. That means you're hiring the right people. That means you are doing the right thing with your customers, and that the community trusts you, and that you're also in the community, which is what he is excellent at. He does all of that excellently.
Yeah.
And, whenever I first started in this position, because when I first started out, I was an interior designer, and I would help people on the floor and stuff like that. And now, I always said if I could ever get my hands on this place, I would really, turn it around. And, that opportunity came, and he and I sat down and we talked for a while about what I wanted to do. And Kyle and I, who is also another great boss that we are grateful to have, he and I sat down and we talked about what I wanted to do for a little while. And, it took him a while. It took him a couple of months.
I mean, because, you have a lot of ideas.
Right.
You have a lot of ideas that are very outside of the box.
Right.
That are not always the most cost efficient
right.
ideas.
Right.
Carol's like, let's blow the roof off. Let's build up. She's got a lot of ideas, but they hear you out.
They do, and I think the reason why Mr. Anderson and Kyle trust me so much is because they do see the hard work that I put behind everything. I will be up here on Christmas Eve. I'll be up here on Christmas Day. I'll be up here on Thanksgiving. I will be doing everything that is necessary to get this store ready for whatever event we are doing.
Which is huge, because we typically have our biggest sales right after Thanksgiving, right after Christmas. And for you to give up, your Christmas Day, Christmas night, Christmas Eve to be here so that the day after Christmas we can have a blowout sale. I mean, that's huge.
But I think the fact that he saw that in me, I mean, he literally lets me do just about anything I want to do,
He's great.
But, and the same thing goes with Kyle. I always get, I trust you, I trust you, I trust you. And that to me is everything, because,
it's huge.
I do have a vision for this store, and they allow me to do that.
Yeah. It's the reason I love what I get to do.
Exactly.
Because I went to school for interior design, but now kind of switching over into the marketing director role of it. And, as I've learned and as I've grown and done more, they're always saying, I trust you that you know what to do. I trust that you have the company's best interest at heart. And that's huge to me. As I'm young and learning and growing, and I trust you, and they're always reinstilling that in me. That's huge. So I know for you too, because you do have the whole showroom in your hands. And so that's a huge task. And so for them to trust you fully is amazing.
Right. So, I mean, honestly, couldn't work for anybody better. I'm just going to say that.
We're lucky here. We are lucky.
We really are.
And even our customers, tell us about how he takes care of our customers.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. So, I mean, we've had, sofas maybe that had a leg break off 5 years after, no telling what happened to it.
A long time.
Yeah. I mean, he's just like, get them another sofa or get them another leg, I mean, it's just...
Even with flooring, he's so great about, somebody calls 10 years down the road and they're like, my flooring is not what it should be. And he's like, we are going to, do anything and everything we can to make sure their flooring is 100% top notch, even 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, whatever it may be.
And that's what I always tell my reps is like, I know what your warranty is.
Yeah. But I know what his.
Yeah. Mr. Anderson's warranty is going to go way past your warranty.
Yeah. And it's just his heart. He's got a huge heart.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's not to be taken advantage of. He has customers that come in. And most of the time they're just saying, hey, what can I do? Can I get a replacement? Can I get like a replacement leg? Or can I get something touched up? And he's like, we're going to make sure you are 100% satisfied no matter what. And so that's one thing I love about him. And I think that's why our customers just continue to come back. That's why we have customers that have been shopping with us for 20, 30 years.
I know. I mean, it's just, to me, like what he has built here is slowly being bought up by bigger companies and stuff like that. And that's, that's why I'm so grateful that, we have Kyle who's going to, carry on the legacy and everything. Yeah. That, we can be safe and that we're, we're
not going to be, we're still that small town.
There you go.
We're still that small local business. We don't have somebody coming in and taking us over that's not familiar with our people and our culture and how we work and how we operate. And we're always trying to better ourselves. And I feel like, as Kyle steps up and takes over eventually and our company kind of enters into a new realm, it's like we're still really safe with, we're still going to be your local business that's always going to try to do better and grow, but we still care about, Hattiesburg and the community at the end of the day, and making sure our teachers and our whoever it may be, our first
softball
responders,
teams
our softball
like
teams,
that,
our football teams, our little league baseball, they're all taken care of. It's like me being in marketing every day, I get an email. It's like, can you sponsor my little boy? And I'm like, Mr. Anderson, he's like, send him a check, like whatever it is. We probably have our name on every softball, baseball, football, school, fishing team, the bass
there you go.
Competitions, bass fishing, whatever it may be. I'm like, all right, just do it. I remember my grandfather one day, he was in a golf tournament. It wasn't even in Hattiesburg. I can't remember where it was. But he sent me a selfie. It was so cute. But he sent me a selfie, and he was holding a golf ball, and it had the Anderson Design Center logo on it. And then he had the Anderson Design Center logo on the flag that was in the tee. And I was like, that is so cute. We're literally everywhere. But it just shows, Mr. Anderson's a generous giver. And I know he's always saying, I wish I could do more. I wish I could do more. But at the root of it, he does a ton. So it's
absolutely,
it's nice to have. It makes working here and working for them very enjoyable.
Absolutely.
As we continue our podcast, we're super excited to dive more into the details of renovations, of flooring projects, maybe of, different do's and don'ts, maybe of different design styles. We're going to have some people, and people have already sent in some questions. We're going to be answering some of your questions, getting to know y'all as customers, answering, what you want to hear. I know specifically we had some customers ask, how do I buy staple pieces of furniture that are going to last me a lifetime or are going to last me, 10, 15 years that I can make, the room change around. So I can do pillows and rugs and whatever it may be. Tell me how to get to that space. And so that's some fun things that we can answer in upcoming podcasts. And like I said, bring Johnny on, have some construction insight. The options are really endless. So I'm glad you were here to start it with me.
Yeah, me too.
We're like the little dynamic duo here, just bebopping around the world, going to market and doing our things. So I figured it was only fitting, but we're super excited. And thank you all for watching if you've made it this far in. And we hope that you'll come back to join us. Follow us on our social media. You'll see fun videos of Carol and myself and our other team. So come back and check us out when you can. Thank you so much for watching At Home with Anderson Design Center. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes, and we will see you on the next one.